No. 1L21,700 meters ME8 series. Instruction manual. External axes. Read and follow these instructions and all safety blocks carefully. Have only trained and qualified persons install, operate, or service this unit. Give this manual to the operator. For help, call your distributor. -1-. Thank you for using the DIN All Mega Series arc welding robot. Please be sure to read the instruction manuals listed below, including this manual and the instruction manuals provided with the equipment, and use all the products correctly. In particular, please be sure to read Chapter 1 Safety Precautions in the Quick Start Instruction Manual before starting to use the products in order to ensure your safety and the safety of others. Store the instruction manual in a safe place for future reference. Instruction manuals related to the Manipulator /per hour /S series and the Robot Control Unit FD11 are as follows. Standard manuals. Instruction manual type instruction. Manual no. Main contents. Quick Start 1L21,700 A point on safety, transportation and installation, turning the power on/off and manual operation, etc. Setup. 1L21,700B. Safety precautions. Installing and connecting method. Starting up. Periodical inspection. Solution at the time of failure. Controller maintenance 1L21,700K specifications of controller, explanation of each parts, and maintenance, parts list, etc. Manipulator NB4/NB4L/NB15/NV6/NV20/NH5/NV20A 1L11130A. Specifications or maintenance of manipulator, parts list, etc. Manipulator NS3 1L11446 A specifications or maintenance of manipulator, parts, list, etc. Manipulator on V50 1L11312 A specifications or maintenance of manipulator, parts, list, etc. Manipulator on V166/NV210 1L11306 A specifications or maintenance of manipulator, parts, list, etc. Manipulator NB4S/NV6 1L11545 A specifications or maintenance of manipulator, parts, list, etc. Basic operations. 1L21700C. Explanation of manual operation, teaching, automatic operation, file utilities, backing up data, basic operations of arc/spot welding application, etc. External input/output 1L21700H interfacing method with external control device, list of I/O signals and start/halt the automatic operation, etc. Software PLC 1L21700J create program, input/output relay lists, list of command words, etc. Control and maintenance function 1L21700L edit logging, user check, troubleshooting, etc. Application manuals. Instruction manual type instruction. Manual no. Main contents. Application manual arc welding 1 L21700F basic settings. Functions for arc welding, teaching, technique, etc. Application manual spot welding 1 L21700E basic settings. Functions for arc welding, teaching, technique, etc. Instruction manuals are available other than the above for each optional function that you have purchased. Notes 1. Specifications and information contained in these manuals are subject to change at any time without notice. 2. The screen display of a teach pendant shown in the manual are described as examples, which may be different from the actual ones. 3. Although we cautiously compiled this standard specification to eliminate as much error as possible, we do not take any responsibility for damages resulting from neither direct nor indirect errors. 4. The manual is a part of robot products. When transferring or selling off a robot, be sure to append the manual. 5. No part of this manual may be reproduced without permission. 6. Prohibited altering or remodeling. Do not alter or remodel our products. You may get injured or have your equipment damaged because of fire, failure or malfunction caused by altering or remodeling the product. The warranty does not cover any altered or remodeled products. Be sure to read instruction manuals before use -2-. Notes on safety. The instructions that you are required to obey in order to prevent injury or physical damage to the operator or other nearby persons are classified and explained as shown below in the provided instruction manuals, including this manual. Danger. Cases in which death or serious injury are assured if handled incorrectly, and which avoidance of such dangers is also considered extremely difficult. Warning. Cases in which death or serious injury can be expected if handled incorrectly. Caution. Cases in which injury or physical damage can be expected if handled incorrectly. The following symbols are also used for important checkpoints. Important. A particularly important checkpoint is shown. Info. Useful information is shown. Point info for deeper understanding for the main text is shown. Note that even the matters which are described as caution can result in serious accident depending on the conditions. Be sure to keep the safety notes since they describe very important matters. The meanings of serious injury, minor injury, and damage described above are as follows. Serious injury. Injury which has the after effect by loss of eyesight, an injury, the burn high/low temperature, an electric shock, fracture, poisoning, etc., and that which requires hospitalization and long-term treatment as an outpatient. Minor injury. Injury which does not require either hospitalization or long-term treatment as an outpatient. A burn high temperature, low temperature, and an electric shock. Damage. Direct and indirect damage in connection with damage of property and equipment. Notice Table of Contents. 1. Table of Contents. Chapter 1 Additional Axes Kit for External 1 Axis/2 Axes. 1.1 Basic Specifications of Additional Axes Kit. 1-1 1.1.1 What is Additional Axes Kit? 1-1 1.1.2 Lineup of peripheral jigs. 1-3 1.1.3 External axes cable. 1-3 1.2 Connections. 1-4 1.2.17 Axis specification example. 1 axis slider is used. 1-4 1.2.28 Axis specification example. 2 axis positioner is used. 1-5 1.2.38 Axis specification example. 2 1 axis positioners are used. 1-6 1.2.18 Axis specification example. 7 axis manipulator and 1 axis positioners are used. 1-7 1.3 parts replacement procedures. 1-8 1.3.1 replacement of additional 1 axis kit or 2 axis kit. 1-8 1.3.2 replacement of power unit. 1-13 1.4 configuration and parts list. 1-14 1.4.1 additional 1 axis kit. 1-14 1.4.2 large capacity additional 1 axis kit. 1-15 1.4.3 additional 2 axis kit 2 axis equipment X1 or 1 axis equipment X2. 1-16 1.4.4 regenerative resistance. 1-19 1.5 periodic inspections. 1-20 1.6 electrical circuit diagram. 1-21 Chapter 2 Cooperation Kit for 3 or more external axes. 2.1 Basic specifications of cooperation kit. 2-1 2.1.1 Terms frequently used in this chapter. 2-1 2.1.2 Exterior drawing of external axes controller and stacked controllers. 2-2 2.1.3 Basic specifications of cooperation kit and external axes controller. 2-4 2.2 Configuration. 2-6 2.2.1 Configuration examples. 2-6 2.2.2 Component list and related device lineup. 2-7 2.2.3 Procedure from transportation to power on. 2-8 2.3 Transportation and installation. 2-9 2.3.1 Transportation. 2-9 2.3.2 Installation and connection method. 2-9 2.4 Cooperation kit connection and power on methods. 2-10 2.4.1 Cooperation kit installation. 2-10 2.4.2 Cooperation cable connection. 2-14 2.4.3 Jumper settings amp number. External axes controller overrun settings. 2-17 2.4.4 Manipulator and peripheral jig connection example. 2-20 2.4.5 Primary power connection for AC 200 220ths. 2-21 2.4.6 Primary power connection when using the L22221A or L22222 a step-down transformer. 2-23 2.4.7 Sign usage examples reference. 2-25 2.4.8 Power on/off methods. 2-26 2.5 Parts replacement procedures. 2-27 2.6 Maintenance parts. 2-30 2.6.1 How to store parts. 2-30 Table of contents. 2.6.2 Cooperation kit. 2-31 2.6.3 External axes controller. 2-32 2.7 Troubleshooting. 2-34 2.8 Electrical circuit diagram. 2-35 Chapter 1 Additional axes kit for external 1 axis/2 axes. This section describes the specifications, connection and maintenance procedures of the additional axes kit which is required when the external 1 or 2 axes are used. 1.1 Basic specifications of additional axes kit. 1-1 1.1.1 What is additional axes kit? 1-1 1.1.2 Lineup of peripheral jigs. 1-3 1.1.3 External axes cable. 1-3 1.2 Connections. 1-4 1.2.17 Axis specification example. 1 axis slider is used. 1-4 1.2.28 Axis specification example. 2 axis positioner is used. 1-5 1.2.38 Axis specification example. 2 1 axis positioners are used. 1-6 1.2.18 Axis specification example. 7 axis manipulator and 1 axis positioners are used. 1-7 1.3 Parts replacement procedures. 1 to 8 1.3.1 Replacement of additional 1-axis kit or 2-axis kit. 1 to 8 1.3.2 Replacement of power unit. 1 to 13 1.4 Configuration and parts list. 1 to 14 1.4.1 Additional 1-axis kit. 1 to 14 1.4.2 Large capacity additional 1-axis kit. 1 to 15 1.4.3 Additional 2-axis kit 2-axis equipment X1 or 1-axis equipment X2. 1 to 16 1.4.4 Regenerative resistance. 1 to 19 1.5 Periodic inspections. 1 to 21.6 Electrical circuit diagram. 1 to 21 1.1 Basic specifications of additional axes kit. 1 to 1.1 Basic specifications of additional axes kit. 1.1.1 What is additional axes kit? If you use a standalone manipulator in combination with a positioner, slider, or any other peripheral jig unit, the optional additional axes kit is necessary. Info. If the robot and positioner and slash or slider are purchased at the same time, the additional axes kit is pre-installed in the robot controller before shipment. Also, if the 7-axis manipulator are purchased, the additional axes kit is pre-installed. If the positioner and slash or a slider are purchased after purchasing the robot controller, request us to install the additional axes kit. The installation services are at a separate charge. Info. If you connect the peripheral jigs immediately, proceed to the section 1.2. You can add up to 2 external axes by the additional axes kit. The specifications of the additional axes kit are described as shown in Table 1.1.1. Table 1.1.1 Specifications of additional axes kit. Items specifications. Name additional 1-axis kit / additional 2-axis kit. Driving system AC servo. Number of controlled axes / type node 1 and 2. If a peripheral jig unit for a robot is connected. Mechanism. Combination of the supporting motors. Type of additional axes kit type no. Applied models. 1-axis mechanism. 550W. 1.2 kilowatt additional 1-axis kit. Note 6 L21751A-1 PB series. -1 senior series. 550W. 1.2 kilowatt. 2 kilowatts. 3.5 kilowatt. 4.5 kilowatt. Large capacity additional 1-axis kit L21750A. 2-axis mechanism X1. 550W/1.2 kilowatt plus 550W/1.2 kilowatt. Additional 2-axis kit L21752A Note 3. 1-axis mechanism X2. Additional 2-axis kit plus additional 2-axis branch kit. L21752A plus L21753A. 1 PB series X2. Primary power. 3-phase AC 200 volts V/220 volts V plus 10% -15% 50/60 Hz. Type no. Power capacity Note 4. L21750 a 4.5 kV. L21751 a 1.2 kV. L21752 a 2.4 kV. L21752A plus L21753 a 2.4 kV. Working current. FD11 JV/FD11 JL/FD11 JS standard robot controller plus additional 1-axis / 2-axis kit 20 amperes. Note 5 FD11 JX standard robot controller plus additional 1-axis / 2-axis kit 40 amperes. Mass. FD11 JV/FD11 JL/FD11 JS standard robot controller plus additional 1-axis / 2-axis kit approx. 62 kilograms FD11 JX standard robot controller plus additional 1-axis / 2-axis kit approx. 65 kilograms. Note 1. The type number differs depending on the peripheral jig unit to be used. When ordering, select 1. Suitable for your peripheral jig unit. Note 2. In case of any other combination of external axes, contact us for inquiry. Note 3. 300/500 are available although 2 kW plus 1.2 kilowatt motors are used. Note 4. The primary side power supply rating shown here is that of the external axes unit only. Note that this rating plus the rating for the robot controller is the rating of the robot system for power supply related works. Note 5. Total working current increases compared with a single robot. Be sure to select the appropriate breaker. 1.1 Basic specifications of additional axes kit. 1 to 2. For details of the primary power connection, refer to the section 3.8.3 in Setup Instruction Manual. Note 6. When combining 7-axis manipulator, the additional 1-axis kit is pre-installed as default. 1.1 Basic specifications of additional axes kit. 1 to 3. 1.1.2 Lineup of peripheral jigs. As peripheral jig units to be used with a robot, The products shown in Table 1.1.2 are available. For details of each peripheral jig, refer to each instruction manual. Table 1.1.2 Peripheral jigs for a robot. Name, model, no. Specifications. 1-axis head stock positioner. 1 PB 250 maximum payload capacity, 250 kilograms. 1 PB 500 maximum payload capacity, 500 kilograms. 1 PB 1000 maximum payload capacity, 1000 kilograms. 1 PC 500 maximum payload capacity, 500 kilograms. 1 PC 1000 maximum payload capacity, 1000 kilograms. 2-axis double support positioner. Note: 2 300 maximum payload capacity, 300 kilograms. 2 500 maximum payload capacity, 500 kilograms. Linear slider light type 1 SB10 stroke 1.0 meters M. 1 SB20 stroke 2.0 meters M. Linear slider standard type 1 senior 29 stroke 2.9 meters M. 1 senior 39 stroke 3.9 meters M. 1 senior 49 stroke 4.9 meters M. 1 senior 59 stroke 5.9 meters M. Linear slider with carriage type 1 senior 19p stroke 1.9 meters M. 1 senior 29p stroke 2.9 meters M. 1 senior 39p stroke 3.9 meters M. 1 senior 49p stroke 4.9 meters M. 1 senior 59p stroke 5.9 meters M. Important note: to combine with the TÜV 1000 2-axis double support positioner, maximum payload capacity 1000 kilograms. The cooperation kit and external axes controller are required. It cannot be controlled with the additional axes kit. For details on the cooperation kit and external axes controller, refer to Chapter 2 Cooperation Kit. 1.1.3 External axes cable. If a peripheral jig unit should be connected to the external axes controller, an external axes cable as shown in Table 1.1.3 is necessary. The external axes cables consist of a motor cable, external axes cable 1, and an encoder cable, external axes cable 2, per peripheral jig unit. Table 1.1.3 External axes cable. External axis cable length type no. Name part number 5 meters ML 20745A. External axes cable 1 L 20819 C00. External axes cable 2 L 20174 C00. 10 meters ML 20746A. External axes cable 1 L 20819 D00. External axes cable 2 L 20174 D00. 15 meters ML 20747A. External axes cable 1 L 20819 E00. External axes cable 2 L 20174 E00. 1.2 connections. 1 to 4. 1.2 connections. This section explains how to connect the external axes cables. 1.2.17 Axis specification example. 1 axis slider is used. Warning: electric shock may cause serious injury or death. Wiring work should be done after turning off the primary power supply and the circuit breaker on the robot controller. Connect the external axes cables 1 and 2, which have been connected to the jig side, to the robot controller. For the connector position, refer to Fig. 1.2.1. 1. Turn off the primary power supply and the circuit breaker on the robot controller. 2. Connect the external axes cables 1 and 2 to SceneRex 1 and SceneRex 2, respectively, at the rear side of the robot controller. Fig. 1.2.1 Connection of the external axes cables 1 and 2. Caution: keep and place the external axes cable 2 well away from the primary power supply cable and the power cable which is connected to the welding power supply. Since the external axes cables 1 and 2 are cables for an unmovable section, do not use them in a movable/bent section, such as inside cable of air of slider. If you want to use them in a movable section, etc., contact us. Caution: after completion of the cable connection to the robot controller, close the door firmly and lock the door keys. If the door is not closed completely, it may result in intrusion of dust and dirt into the robot controller, which might cause a failure. 1 axis slider 1.2 connections. 1 to 5. 1.2.28 Axis specification example. 2 axis positioner is used. Warning: electric shock may cause serious injury or death. Wiring work should be done after turning off the primary power supply and the circuit breaker on the robot controller. Connect the external axes cables 1 and 2, which have been connected to the jig side, to the robot controller. For the connector position, refer to Fig. 1.2.2. 1. Turn off the primary power supply and the circuit breaker on the robot controller. 2. Connect the external axes cables 1 and 2 to SceneRex 1 and SceneRex 2, respectively, at the rear side of the robot controller. Fig. 1.2.2 Connection of the external axes cables 1 and 2. Caution: keep and place the external axes cable 2 well away from the primary power supply cable and the power cable which is connected to the welding power supply. Since the external axes, cables 1 and 2 are cables for an unmovable section. Do not use them in a movable/bent section, such as inside cable of air of slider. If you want to use them in a movable section, etc., contact us. Caution. After completion of the cable connection to the robot controller, close the door firmly and lock the door keys. If the door is not closed completely, it may result in intrusion of dust and dirt into the robot controller, which might cause a failure. 1.2 Connections. 1 to 6. 1.2.38 Axis specification. An example. 2 1-axis positioners are used. Warning. Electric shock may cause serious injury or death. Wiring work should be done after turning off the primary power supply and the circuit breaker on the robot controller. Connect the external axes, cables 1 and 2, which have been connected to the jig side, to the robot controller. For the connector position, refer to Fig. 1.2.3. 1. Turn off the primary power supply and the circuit breaker on the robot controller. 2. Connect the external axes, cables 1 and 2 for each positioner to SceneRex 1 and SceneRex 2 for 7th and 8th axis, respectively, at the rear side of the robot controller. Fig. 1.2.3 Connection of the external axes, cables 1 and 2. Caution. Keep and place the external axes cable 2 well away from the primary power supply cable and the power cable which is connected to the welding power supply. Since the external axes, cables 1 and 2 are cables for an unmovable section, do not use them in a movable/bent section, such as inside cable of air of slider. If you want to use them in a movable section, etc., contact us. Caution. After completion of the cable connection to the robot controller, close the door firmly and lock the door keys. If the door is not closed completely, it may result in intrusion of dust and dirt into the robot controller, which might cause a failure. 1.2 Connections. 1 to 7. 1.2.18 Axis specification. An example. 7-axis manipulator and 1-axis positioners are used. Warning. Electric shock may cause serious injury or death. Wiring work should be done after turning off the primary power supply and the circuit breaker on the robot controller. Connect the external axes, cables 1 and 2, which have been connected to the jig side, to the robot controller. For the connector position, refer to Fig. 1.2.4. 1. Turn off the primary power supply and the circuit breaker on the robot controller. 2. Connect the external axes, cables 1 and 2 for each positioner to SceneRex 1 and SceneRex 2 for 8th axis, respectively, at the rear side of the robot controller. The first axis of the additional 2-axis kit is connected to the 7th axis of the manipulator. Fig. 1.2.4 Connection of the external axes, cables 1 and 2. Caution. Keep and place the external axes cable 2 well away from the primary power supply cable and the power cable which is connected to the welding power supply. Since the external axes, cables 1 and 2 are cables for an unmovable section, do not use them in a movable/bent section, such as inside cable of air of slider. If you want to use them in a movable section, etc., contact us. Caution. After completion of the cable connection to the robot controller, close the door firmly and lock the door keys. If the door is not closed completely, it may result in intrusion of dust and dirt into the robot controller, which might cause a failure. 1.3 Parts Replacement Procedures. 1 to 8. 1.3 Parts Replacement Procedures. Danger. Do not alter or remodel our products. You may get injured or have your equipment damaged because of fire, failure or malfunction caused by altering or remodeling the product. The warranty does not cover any altered or remodeled products. 1.3.1 Replacement of additional 1-axis kit or 2-axis kit. Replace the IPM drive unit with the external axes kit installed when the additional 1-axis kit or 2-axis kit is required to replace. Note that additional axes kit cannot be replaced separately. Warning. Electric shock may cause serious injury or death. Wiring work should be done after turning off the primary power supply and the circuit breaker on the robot controller. Wait 5 minutes after turning off the main power before replacing IPM drive unit. Caution. When you replace the IPM drive unit with new one, check that the new one is same type before replacement. If the IPM drive unit is replaced with the different type, it will cause a failure or malfunction. Take care not to strike the heatsink at the side face. Take care not to fall it on your foot. How to remove. 1. Turn off the primary power supply and the circuit breaker on the robot controller. 2. Remove the connectors connected to the front panel of the IPM drive unit. Table 1.3.1 Connectors connected on the front panel. Connectors destinations CNCOM CPU board CNSV sequence board CNVP multi-power supply unit CNR street. CNMS power unit CN fan cooling fan heatsink, CNR regenerative resistance, CN780, external axes relay cable 2 or encoder branch, cable or control cable 3 for 7-axis manipulator, 1.3 Parts Replacement Procedures, 1 to 9, IPM drive unit fixing screw, IPM drive unit, CNCOM, CNVP, CNR street, CN fan, CNR, CNSV, CN780 CNMS, IPM drive unit fixing screw, Fig. 1.3.1 Replace a IPM drive unit. Remove the connectors on the front panel. 3. Remove the 2 fixing screws for the IPM drive unit. 4. Pull the IPM drive unit out 200 mm from the front side. Front view inside. A. Pull out. Fixing screws IPM drive unit. View a minus a right inside view. Fig. 1.3.2 Replace a IPM drive unit. Pull the unit. 1.3 Parts replacement procedures. 1 to 10. 5. Remove the connectors connected to the right side of IPM drive unit as shown in table 1.3.2. Refer to the figures from Fig. 1.3.3 to Fig. 1.3.6 also. Table 1.3.2 Connectors connected to the right side of IPM drive unit. Connectors cables destinations. CNP1A, CNP6A, CNP2B except NH5, NS3, CNBK1, CNBK2, Control Cable 1. Manipulator NB4/NV6/NB4L NV6L/NB15/NV20, CNEC 1. CNEC 2 Control Cable 3 NH5/NS3 CNP1A, CNP3A, CNP1B, CNP3B, CNBK1, Control Cable 1. Manipulator NV20A/NV50/NV166/NV210, CNP4A, CNP6A, CNP4B, CNP6B, CNBK2, Control Cable 2, CNEC 1. CNEC 2 Control Cable 3 CNP1A, CNP7A, CNP2B, CNBK1, CNBK2, Control Cable 1 Manipulator, NB4S/NV6S/NB4LS NV6LS/NB10S/NV20S, CNEC 1, CNEC 2, CNE7-8E Control Cable 3 CNP7A, CNP7B Additional 1 Axis Kit, External Axes Relay Cable 1 External Axes CNP7, CNP8 Additional 2 Axis Kit, CN7-8BK, External Axes Relay Cable 1, or Brake Branch Cable, Power Unit, IPM Drive Unit, Robotic Controller Inside, Right View, CNP1A, CNP2B, CNP3A, CNP2A, CNP4A, CNP5A, CNP6A, CNEC 2, CNEC 1, CNBK1, CNBK2, Control Cable 1 Motor Cable, Control Cable 3 Encoder Cable, Fig. 1.3.3 Replacement of IPM Drive Unit. Removed connectors. Example, NB4/NV6/NB4L/NV15/NV20/NH5/NS3 Single Mechanism 1.3 Parts Replacement Procedures. 1 to 11. CNP7B CN7-8BK, CNP7A, IPM Drive Unit, Robotic Controller Inside, Right View, CN7-8E, Fig. 1.3.4 Removed connectors. Additional 1 Axis Kit, External Axes Relay Cables 1-2, Robotic Controller Inside, Right View, CNP7 CN7-8BK CNP8, IPM Drive Unit, CN7-8E, Fig. 1.3.5 Removed connectors. Additional 2 Axis Kit 2 Axis X1, External Axes Relay Cables 1-2 1.3 Parts Replacement Procedures, 1 to 12. CNP7 CN7-8BK, CNP8, IPM Drive Unit, Robotic Controller Inside, Right View, CN7-8E, Fig. 1.3.6 Removed connectors. Additional 2 Axis Kit 1 Axis X2, External Axes Relay Cables 1-2 plus additional 2 Axis Branch Kit, IPM Drive Unit, Robotic Controller Inside, Right View, CNP7 CN7-8BK, CNP8, CN7-8E, CN7-8E1, CN7-8E2, CN7-8BK2, CN7-8BK1 not connected, Fig. 1.3.7 Removed connectors. 7 Axis Manipulator plus additional 2 Axis Kit 1 Axis X2. 6 Pull out the IPM Drive Unit at the front of controller not to hooking the removed connectors. At this time, hold the plate working part not to contact with the board and electrolysis capacitor. 1.3 Parts Replacement Procedures. 1 to 13. How to mount. 1. Insert the IPM Drive Unit from the front face of the controller to the position pulled out, 200 mm bearing away the surrounding connectors. 2. Reconnect the removed cables on the right side of the IPM Drive Unit to the original connectors as shown in Table 1.3.2. Refer to the figures from Fig. 1.3.3 to Fig. 1.3.7 also. 3. Insert the IPM Drive Unit to the original position. 4. Fix the IPM Drive Unit by the 2 fixing screws. 5. Reconnect the removed cables on the front panel of the IPM Drive Unit to the original connectors as shown in Table 1.3.1. 1.3.2 Replacement of Power Unit. For details of the replacement procedures of the power unit, refer to the section 3.1.3 in the instruction manual. Controller maintenance. 1.4 Configuration and parts list. 1 to 14. 1.4 Configuration and parts list. 1.4.1 Additional 1 Axis Kit. Installing the additional 1-axis kit on the IPM drive unit enables the robot controller to connect external 1-axis equipment which has a motor whose capacity is 550 W, 1.2 kilowatt. Table 1.4.1 Manipulator plus external 1-axis specifications Note 1. Model No. Of robot controller FD11 P000. Parts name Parts No. Remarks. IPM drive unit. Plus. Additional 1-axis kit L21751A00. Associated regenerative resistance may not be used. Refer to the section. 1.4.4. Manipulator parts No. For NB4/NV6 L21730A00. For NB40/NV6 L/NB15/NV20 L21731A00 for NH5/NS3 L21732A00 regenerative. Resistance No 2 L20771K00. For NV20 L21735A00. Note 1. Parts except the descriptions in this table are common to the robot controller. Note 2. Regenerative resistance is included in the additional 1-axis kit. Info. If P is specified on the fourth number from the right of the model No. Of the robot controller at time of order. The additional 1-axis kit is pre-installed in the robot controller before shipment. Example, FD11 JVP000 for NB4 or NB4 plus additional 1-axis kit. Additional 1-axis kit. Front view inside view A-, a right inside view, A, Fig. 1.4.1 configuration of the additional 1-axis kit. Important regenerative resistance may be added. Refer to the section 1.4.4. 1.4 configuration and parts list. 1 to 15. 1.4.2 large capacity additional 1-axis kit. Installing the large capacity additional 1-axis kit on the IPM drive unit enables the robot controller to connect external 1-axis equipment which has a motor whose capacity is 550 W, 1.2 kilowatt, 2 kilowatts or 4.5 kilowatt. Table 1.4.2 Manipulator plus large capacity external 1-axis specifications Note 1. Model No. Of robot controller FD11 A000. Parts name Parts No. Remarks. IPM drive unit. Plus. Large capacity additional 1-axis kit L21750A00 associated regenerative resistance is used. Refer to the section 1.4.4. Manipulator parts No. For NB4/NV6 L21730A00. For NB40/NV6 L/NB15/NV20 L21731A00. Large capacity regenerative resistance. Kit No 23 L22280A00. For NH5/NS3 L21732A00 large capacity. Power unit Note 2 L21722A00. Note 1. Parts except the descriptions in this table are common to the robot controller. Note 2. Large capacity regenerative resistance kit and the large capacity power unit are included in the large capacity additional 1-axis kit. Note 3. Large capacity regenerative resistance kit L22280A00 includes a large capacity regenerative resistance L20408K00 and attachment parts. When only a large capacity regenerative resistance is required, order L20408K00 instead of L22280A00. Info. If A is specified on the fourth number from the right of the model No. Of the robot controller at time of order. The large capacity additional 1-axis kit is pre-installed in the robot controller before shipment. Example, FD11 JVO000 for NB4 or NB4 plus large capacity additional 1-axis kit. Large capacity additional 1-axis kit. Large capacity power unit. Front view inside view A-, a right inside view, A, Fig. 1.4.2 configuration of the large capacity additional 1-axis kit. Important. Large capacity regenerative resistance is installed. Refer to the section 1.4.4. Important. Large capacity power NIT model No. L21722A00 is installed instead of the standard 1 model No. L21721A00. When the power unit is replaced due to the failure, be sure to confirm the model number. 1.4 configuration and parts list. 1 to 16. 1.4.3 additional 2-axis kit 2-axis equipment X1 or 1-axis equipment X2. Installing the additional 2-axis kit on the IPM drive unit enables the robot controller to connect external 2-axis equipment X1 or 1-axis equipment X2 which has two motors whose capacities are 550 W/1.2 kilowatt plus 550 W/1.2 kilowatt. Table 1.4.3 Manipulator plus external 2-axis specifications 2-axis equipment X1 Note 1, 2. Model No. of robot controller, FD11 Jasterisk 2000. Parts name no. Remarks. IPM drive unit. Plus. Additional 2-axis kit 2-axis equipment X1, L21752A00. Associated regenerative resistance may not be used. Refer to the Section 1.4.4. Manipulator parts no. For NB4/NV6 L21730A00 for NB40/NV60/NB15/NV20 L21731A00 for NH5/NS3 L21732A00 regenerative ray. Assistance Note 3 L20771K00. For NV20 L21735A00. Note 1. Parts except the descriptions in this table are common to the robot controller. Note 2 to 300/500 are available, although 2 kW kW plus 1.2 kilowatt motors are used. Note 3. Regenerative resistance is included in the additional 2-axis kit. Info. If 2 is specified on the fourth number from the right of the model no. Of the robot controller at time of order, the additional 2-axis kit 2-axis equipment X1 is pre-installed in the robot controller before shipment. Example, FD11 JV2000 for NB4 or NV6 plus additional 2-axis kit 2-axis equipment X1. Front view inside view A-, a right inside view, A. Additional 2-axis kit, 2-axis X1, Fig. 1.4.3 configuration of the additional 2-axis kit for 2-axis equipment, X1 1.4 configuration, and parts list, 1 to 17. Table 1.4.4 Manipulator plus external 2-axis, specifications 1-axis equipment X2 Note 1, model no. Of robot controller, FD11 Jasterisk 4000. Parts name no. Remarks. IPM drive unit. Plus. Additional 2-axis kit 1-axis equipment X2, L21752A00 associated regen. Aerative resistance may not be used. Refer to the Section 1.4.4. Manipulator parts no. For NB4/NV6 L21730A00 for NB40/NV60/NB15/NV20 L21731A00 regenerative ray. Assistance Note 2 L20771K00. For NH5/NS3 L21732A00 additional 2-axis branch. Kit Note 3 L21753A00. For NV20 L21735A00. Note 1. Parts except the descriptions in this table are common to the robot controller. Note 2. Regenerative resistance is included in the additional 2-axis kit. Note 3. This kit changes the configuration from 2-axis equipment X1 to 1-axis equipment X2. Info. If 4 is specified on the fourth number from the right of the model no. Of the robot controller at time of order, the additional 2-axis kit plus additional 2-axis branch kit for 1-axis equipment X2 are pre-installed in the robot controller before shipment. Example. Example, FD11 JV4000, for NB4 or NB4 plus additional 2-axis kit. Plus additional 2-axis branch kit 1-axis equipment X2, front view inside view A-, a right inside view. Additional 2-axis kit, 1-axis X2, A. Fig. 1.4.4 configuration of the additional 2-axis kit plus additional 2-axis branch kit for 1-axis equipment X2. Important regenerative resistance may be added. Refer to the Section 1.4.4. 1.4 configuration and parts list, 1 to 18. Table 1.4.5, 7-axis manipulator plus 1-axis equipment Note 1, model no. Of robot controller, FD11 Jasterisk 4000. Manipulator parts name no. Parts name no. NB4/NV6S. IPM drive unit. L21730A00. Plus. Additional 2-axis kit 1-axis equipment X2, L21752A00. NB4LS/NV6LS/NB10/NV20, SL21731A00. Regenerative resistance Note 2 L20771K00. Additional 2-axis branch. Kit Note 3 L21753A00. Note 1. Parts except the descriptions in this table are common to the robot controller. Note 2. Regenerative resistance is included in the additional 2-axis kit. Note 3. This kit changes the configuration from 2-axis equipment X1 to 1-axis equipment X2. Important. When combining 7-axis manipulator, a 1-axis equipment 550W or 1.2 kilowatt can be connected. First axis of additional 2-axis kit connected to 7th axis of the manipulator. Second axis of additional 2-axis kit connected to 1-axis equipment. Front view inside view a right inside view A. Additional 2-axis kit 7th axis of the manipulator plus 1 axis. Fig. 1.4.5 configuration of the additional 2-axis kit plus additional 2-axis branch kit. For 7-axis manipulator plus 1-axis equipment 1.4 configuration and parts list. 1 to 19. 1.4.4 regenerative resistance. Installed position for each configuration is shown in Fig. 1.4.6. Pattern 1 regenerative resistance L20400K00 inside the fan cover for single NV6/NB4/NH5/NS3. Pattern 4 regenerative resistance L20408K00 inside the fan cover for single NV50/NV166/NV210. Pattern 3 regenerative resistance L21701K00 a set of 3 inside the fan cover. For single NV6L/NB4L/NV20, Fig. 1.4.6 installed position of regenerative resistance for standard single manipulator. Regenerative resistance is added or replaced according to the system configuration as shown in Table 1.4.6. Table 1.4.6 Combinations of regenerative resistance. System configurations. Manipulator type. NV6/NB4/NH5/NS3, NV6L/NB4L/NB15/NV20, NV20A/NB50/NV166/NV210, NV6S/NB4S/NV6LS/NB4LS/NB10S/NV20S. Single manipulator reference. Pattern 1, Pattern 3, Pattern 4, Pattern 2 Note 1. Single manipulator plus additional 1-axis kit. Pattern 2 Pattern 1 plus regenerative resistance model No. L20771K. Single manipulator plus additional 2-axis kit 2-axis equipment X1. Single manipulator plus additional 2-axis kit plus additional 2-axis branch kit 1-axis equipment X2. Pattern 2 Note 2. Single manipulator plus large capacity additional 1-axis kit. Pattern 4 Replace. Pattern 4 Replace. Note 1. When combining 7-axis manipulator, the additional 1-axis is pre-installed as default. Note 2 7-axis manipulator plus 1-axis equipment. 1.4 configuration and parts list. 1 to 20. Table 1.4.7 Connection and fixation of regenerative resistance. Pattern of how to connect regenerative resistance. Connection diagram fixation positions. Pattern 1 CNRR1, CNR, L20400K. CNRR1, regenerative resistance. IPM drive unit. Regenerative resistance L20400K00. CNRR1, CNR, L20771K. L20400K. CNRR1. CNRR1. Regenerative resistance added to the pattern 1. Regenerative resistance. Regenerative resistance. IPM drive unit. Regenerative resistance L20771K00. Regenerative resistance L20400K00. Pattern 3. CNRR1, CNR, L21701K. Regenerative CNRR1, resistance. IPM drive unit. Regenerative resistance. Regenerative resistance. Regenerative resistance a set of 3, L21701K00. Pattern 4 CNRR1, CNR. Regenerative CNRR1, resistance L20408K. IPM drive unit. Regenerative resistance L20408K00. Bracket for large regenerative resistance, kit L21700B25A. 1.5 periodic inspections. For details of precautions for the periodic inspections, refer to the section 4.2 in the instruction manual. Controller maintenance. Pattern 1, plus. Regenerative resistance L20771K. Pattern 2 1.6 electrical circuit diagram. 1 to 21. 1.6 electrical circuit diagram. 1.6 electrical circuit diagram. 1 to 22. Fig. 1.6.1 electrical circuit diagram. Additional 1-axis kit. Large capacity additional 1-axis kit. 1.6 electrical circuit diagram. 1 to 23. 1.6 electrical circuit diagram. 1 to 24. Fig. 1.6.2 electrical circuit diagram. Additional 2-axis kit for 2-axis equipment X1. 1.6 electrical circuit diagram. 1 to 25. 1.6 electrical circuit diagram. 1 to 26. Fig. 1.6.3 Electrical circuit diagram. Additional 2-axis kit and additional 2-axis branch kit for 1-axis equipment. X2 1.6 Electrical circuit diagram. 1 to 27. Fig. 1.6.4 Electrical circuit diagram. 7-axis manipulator and 1-axis equipment. 1.6 Electrical circuit diagram. 1 to 28. Fig. 1.6.5 Electrical circuit diagram of external axes cable 1, E1, E2, Overrun LS. Fig. 1.6.6 Electrical circuit diagram of external axes cable 2 Chapter 2 Cooperation kit for 3 or more external axes. This chapter describes the specifications, connection methods and maintenance procedures for the cooperation kit required when using 3 or more external axes with the robot controller. 2.1 Basic specifications of cooperation kit. 2 to 1 2.1.1 Terms frequently used in this chapter. 2 to 1 2.1.2 Exterior drawing of external axes controller and stacked controllers. 2 to 2 2.1.3 Basic specifications of cooperation kit and external axes controller. 2 to 4 2.2 Configuration. 2 to 6 2.2.1 Configuration examples. 2 to 6 2.2.2 Component list and related device lineup. 2 to 7 2.2.3 Procedure from transportation to power on. 2 to 8 2.3 Transportation and installation. 2 to 9 2.3.1 Transportation. 2 to 9 2.3.2 Installation and connection method. 2 to 9 2.4 Cooperation kit connection and power on methods. 2 to 10 2.4.1 Cooperation kit installation. 2 to 10 2.4.2 Cooperation cable connection. 2 to 14 2.4.3 Jumper settings amp number. External axes controller overrun settings 2-2.4.4 Manipulator and peripheral jig connection example. 2 to 22.4.5 Primary power connection for AC 200 220ths. 2 to 21 2.4.6 Primary power connection when using the L22221A or L22222A step down transformer. 2 to 23 2.4.7 Sign usage examples reference. 2 to 25 2.4.8 Power on / off methods. 2 to 26 2.5 Parts replacement procedures. 2 to 27 2.6 Maintenance parts. 2 to 32.6.1 How to store parts. 2 to 32.6.2 Cooperation kit. 2 to 31 2.6.3 External axes controller. 2 to 32 2.7 Troubleshooting. 2 to 34 2.8 Electrical circuit diagram. 2 to 35 2.1 Basic specifications of cooperation kit. 2 to 1 2.1 Basic specifications of cooperation kit. 2.1.1 Terms frequently used in this chapter. Terms frequently used in this chapter are described below. Table 2.1.1 Frequently used terms. Term description. Robot controller, a device with a built-in attach-pendant TP or CPU board that can drive the robot arm by itself. External axes controller. This device does not have a built-in TP or CPU board and cannot drive the robot arm by itself. It must be operated in combination with a robot controller. Single mechanism controller, the term for a single robot controller that does not cooperate with others. Controller, a general term for robot controllers and external axes controllers. Cooperation system, a general term for a system that acts as a single robot controller by combining multiple controllers. This is required when driving 3 or more external axes, such as manipulators from the second manipulator, or positioners or sliders with a total of 3 or more axes with a robot controller. A cooperation system can be driven with up to 4 controllers. Cooperation kit, a kit for configuring a cooperation system. It is comprised of items such as a switching hub and cooperation cables. Master robot controller, the term for the robot controller that drives all the other controllers in the cooperation system. The cooperation kit is installed on the master robot controller. Slave robot controller, the term for the controllers that are driven from the master robot controller in the cooperation system. Large capacity controller, a general term describing controllers for NV50, NV166, NV210 and external 6-axis equipment. Info. When 3 or more external axes are purchased at the same time, the product is shipped with the cooperation kit already installed on the master robot controller. If you purchase 3 or more external axes after having previously purchased the robot controller, contact us for connecting the cooperation system. A fee will be charged for the connection work. Info. When connecting a manipulator as external axes, use a robot controller for the manipulator to be connected. When a master manipulator and external axes manipulator are purchased at the same time, the robot controller with the built-in cooperation kit is for the master. Info. To immediately connect 3 or more external axes, proceed to 2-8 inches on page Fig. 2.2.1. Connection procedure. 2.1 Basic specifications of cooperation kit. 2 to 2. 2.1.2 Exterior drawing of external axes, controller and stacked controllers. The exterior and installation dimensions of the external axes controller are the same as for the robot controller. For details, refer to the controller maintenance manual. Exterior drawings for stacked controllers are shown in Fig. 2.1.1 and Fig. 2.1.2, 580, 1240, 1300, 17525, 4-516, 460, 32.545 490, 560 420, Fig. 2.1.1 Exterior drawing of stacked controllers, eyebolt, teach pendant hanger, circuit breaker, primary power inlet, door key, support channel foot, hole for stack connection. 2.1 Basic specifications of cooperation kit. 2 to 3, 580, 1600, 1660, 17525, 460, 32.545 490, 4-516, 560 420, Fig. 2.1.2 Exterior drawing of stacked controllers equipped with a step-down transformer L22221/L22222A, eyebolt, teach pendant hanger, circuit breaker, primary power cable, door key, support channel foot, hole for stack connection. Door key. 2.1 Basic specifications of cooperation kit. 2 to 4. 2.1.3 Basic specifications of cooperation kit and external axes controller. Table 2.1.2 Basic specifications of cooperation kit. Items specifications. Name cooperation kit function. Up to 3 slave robot controllers can be added to a master robot controller. Combinable controllers. Note 1. Name type. Target mechanisms. Robot controller. FD11JV000 NV6, NB4, FD11JL000 NV6L, NB4L, NV20, NB15, FD11JS000 NH5, NS3, FD11JX000 NV50, NV166, NV210. External axes controller. FD110060 external 6-axis equipment. 1.2 kilowatt, 2 kilowatts, 4.5 kilowatt. Primary power supplied from inside the master robot controller. Note 1. A robot controller can be used as either a master or a slave. An external axes controller can only be used as a slave. Table 2.1.3 Basic specifications of external axes controller. Items specifications. Type. Note 1 2. FD110060 for external 6-axis equipment. Note 4. Function. Up to 3 external axes controllers can be added to the master robot controller. Number of controlled axes. 6 axes. Additions can be made inside the panel with the additional axes kit. Up to a total of 8 axes. Driving system. AC servo motor. Positional feedback. Absolute encoder. Structure. Closed structure. Cooling system. Indirect cooling system. Operating ambient conditions. Temperature 0 to 45 C. Humidity 20 to 80%. No condensation. Primary voltage 3 phi AC 200 volts V/220 volts V plus 10%. Minus 15% 50/60 Hz. Power consumption. Note 3. Combinable motors. Power capacity. External 6-axis equipment. 1.2 kilowatt, 2 kilowatts, 4.5 kilowatt. Note 4. Note 5 10 kV. Grounding robot. Dedicated grounding of type D or higher. External dimensions. W580 multiplied by D542 multiplied by H650 mm excluding projections. Mass. FD11006 approx. 65 kilograms. Paint color. Munsell 10 J 9/1. Note 1. The symbols entered in are as follows. 0. No external axis. External 1 axis 2. External 2 axis 4. External 1 axis multiplied by 2. Large capacity. External 1 axis. Note 2. When connecting a second or subsequent manipulator, use a robot controller for the manipulator to be connected. Note 3. Varies according to the application and operation pattern. 2.1 Basic specifications of cooperation kit. 2 to 5. Note 4. External axes controller can control up to 6 axes by itself. The controllable motors and quantities are 1.2 kilowatt or 2.0 kilowatt multiplied by 6, or 4.5 kilowatt multiplied by 3. Motors can be used together in combination. The allowed combination range is indicated in Table 2.1.4. Different motors can also be combined, as long as they are within the range indicated in Table 2.1.4. Table 2.1.4 Allowed combination range for external axes controller. Allowed combination range 1.2 kilowatt or 2.0 kilowatt 4.5 kilowatt. multiplied by 6 multiplied by 0 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 0 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 0 multiplied by 3. Note 5. For external axes controller, up to 3 sets of 2 axes/1 set of external axes cables can be connected. When connecting a peripheral jig that requires 4 or more sets of external axes cables, use external axis interconnection box L21530A00. Note 6. For external axes controller, additions can be made inside the panel with the additional axes kit up to a total of 8 axes, the same as for other controllers. But the motors that can be combined with the additional axes kit are different from those in Table 2.1.4. For details, refer to Chapter 1 Additional Axes Kit. 2.2 Configuration, 2 to 6. 2.2 Configuration. 2.2.1 Configuration Examples. Configuration examples of controllers that control 3 or more external axes are shown in Table 2.2.1. Table 2.2.1 Configuration examples of controllers that control 3 or more external axes. Note 1. Note 2. Primary power voltage specification. Configuration examples. Stacked. Note 4. Separate installation. AC 200 volts/220 V. Cooperation cable 4 meters M. Cooperation kit. Cooperation cable 0.7 meters M. Power cable for double stacking. RC1, RC2, RC3, RC4. Cooperation kit. Cooperation cable 4 meters M. RC1, RC2, RC3, RC4. When using step-down voltage, transformer L22221 or L22222A. Note 3, Note 5, Note 6. Cooperation cable 0.7 meters M. Cooperation kit. Cooperation cable 4 meters M. Power cable 4 meters M. RC2, RC1, RC4, RC3. Cooperation kit. Cooperation cable 4 meters M. Power cable 4 meters M. RC1, RC2, RC3, RC4. Note 1. To identify the controllers in the table, they are labeled in order from RC1 to RC4, starting from the master. Note 2. The table shows an example of a cooperation system configuration with 4 units, but cooperation systems with 2 units or 3 units can also be configured with either the stacked or separate installation configuration. Note 3. When including NV50, NV166, NV210 or external axes controller in the configuration, connect the primary power and the L22221A or L22222 a step-down transformer independently. For details, refer to 2.4.5 Primary power connection for AC 200-220. Note 4. Restrictions apply to the transportation of the stacked configuration. For details, refer to 2.3.1 Transportation. Note 5. Because step-down transformers other than L22221A and L22222A are installed using a separate installation outside the controllers, connections after the step-down transformer are the same as AC 200-220 V. Note 6. When using the L22221A or L22222 a step-down transformer, the lower level of the stack is RC1 and the upper level is RC2. Important. Circuit breaker selection when sharing the power supply source between multiple controllers. Install a no-fuse circuit breaker 3-phase, AC 200 volts, or electric leakage circuit breaker appropriate for the sum of the used current for each model as shown in Table 2.2.2. Table 2.2.2 Used current for each model. Model, used current, single mechanism, controller, external 1-axis/2-axis kit addition. NV4/NV6/NV4L/NV15/NV20/NH5/NS315 amperes 20 amperes NV50/NV166/NV210 40 amperes. External axes controller 40 amperes 2.2 Configuration 2 to 7 2.2.2 Component list and related device lineup. The components indicated in Table 2.2.3 are required in the cooperation system. The required quantity of cables varies according to the configuration, as shown in Table 2.2.1. Table 2.2.3 List of cooperation kit components. Name type specifications. Cooperation kit. Note 1. L22351A00. Refer to Table 2.1.2. Cooperation cable L22377 B00 0.7 meters M for double stacking only. L22377 F00 4 meters M other than double stacking. Power cable L22390A00 for double stacking only. Power cable L22228A00 4 meters. Note 1 includes 2 sets of stack connection bolts and signs are 1 inch, are 2 inches, are 3 inches, are 4 inches. 4. Cooperation system identification. For details on using the connection bolts, refer to 2.3.2 installation and connection method, and for sign usage examples, refer to 2.4.7 sign usage examples reference. When connecting a manipulator and peripheral jig to a controller, a control cable and external axis cable are required. An external axis interconnection box is required when connecting 4 or more sets of external axis cables to external axis controller. Table 2.2.4 related device lineup. Name type specifications. Control cable refer to the controller maintenance manual. External axis cable refer to the Chapter 1 additional axis kit. External axis interconnection box L21530A00 splits the external axes cables for 2 axes. For external axis controller into 1 axis multiplied by 2. 2.2 configuration 2 to 8. 2.2.3 procedure from transportation to power on. Refer to Fig. 2.2.1 for the procedure from transporting the controllers to turning on the power. Fig. 2.2.1 connection procedure. Check the transportation and installation methods and connect the stacks. Page 2 to 9. 2.3 Transportation and installation. Install the cooperation kit. Page 2 to 10. 2.4.1 Cooperation kit installation. This step is not required if the cooperation kit was already installed at delivery. Connect the cooperation cables. Page 2 to 14. 2.4.2 Cooperation cable connection. Set the amp number and overrun. Page 2 to 17. 2.4.3 Jumper settings. Amp number. External axis controller overrun settings. Connect the control cables and external axis cables. Connecting the control cables. Setup manual. Connecting the external axis cables. Chapter 1 additional axis kit. Cooperation system connection example. Page 2 to 22.4.4 Manipulator and peripheral jig. Connection example. Connect the primary power. Page 2 to 21. 2.4.5 Primary power connection for AC 200/220ths V. Connect the primary power. Page 2 to 23. 2.4.6 Primary power connection when using the L22221A or L22222 a step-down transformer. Check the power on/off methods. Page 2 to 26. 2.4.8 Power on/off methods. And when using the L22221A or L22222 a step-down transformer, when the primary power is AC 200 volts/220 V. Start 2.3 Transportation and installation. 2 to 9. 2.3 Transportation and installation. 2.3.1 Transportation. For details on transportation, refer to the setup manual. Caution. When lifting stacked controllers with a crane, use the specified bolts in the connection area and tighten to the specified torque of 79 Nm. The warranty does not cover failures occurring when transportation is conducted under conditions other than those specified. Tightening torque in connection area that enables lifting 79 Nm. 2.3.2 Installation and connection method. For details on installation, refer to the setup manual. For the installation method for the controllers in each configuration, refer to 2.1.2 Exterior drawing of external axis controller and stacked controllers. The controller connection method is shown in Fig. 2.3.1. The connection bolts are included in the L22351A00 cooperation kit. 1. Remove the eye bolt of the lower level controller and place the upper level controller on top. 2. Align the center holes of the upper level controller feet with the M16 holes for the eye bolts on the lower level controller, and tighten M16 multiplied by 30 hexagon bolts to 79 Nm. Fig. 2.3.1 Controller connection method. Caution. Only the 2 stacking configurations shown in Fig. 2.1.1 and Fig. 2.1.2 of Section 2.1.2 are possible. The warranty does not cover failures occurring after a stacking configuration other than that is used. M16 multiplied by 30 minus 2 locations specified torque 79 Nm. 2.4 Cooperation kit connection and power on methods. 2 to 10. 2.4 Cooperation kit connection and power on methods. 2.4.1 Cooperation kit installation. Info. If the cooperation kit is already installed on the master robot controller, proceed to 2.4.2. Cooperation cable connection on page 2-14. Important. To install the cooperation kit, the L22385F00 sequence board is required on the master robot controller. If the L22385F00 sequence board is not installed on the master robot controller, replace the sequence board. For details on identifying the board, refer to Fig. 2.4.12 on page 2 to 18. This section describes the procedure for installing the cooperation kit on the master robot controller. 240. DIN rail fixture. Additional switching power supply. Ethernet hub. Cooperation circuit board. DIN rail fixture. Fig. 2.4.1 cooperation kit exterior view cables are omitted. Install the cooperation kit to remove the cable assembly for the robot controller shown in table 2.4.1. Store the removed cable in a safe place. Table 2.4.1 cable assembly to remove. Cable assembly connection location L21723D00 IPM drive unit CNSV to sequence board CNSV. The cable assemblies to be connected are the 5 shown in table 2.4.2. Table 2.4.2 cable assemblies for cooperation kit. Cable assembly. Cooperation kit connection location remarks name connector L22342B00 additional switching. Power supply. AC input terminal power unit CN200P. L21723B00 Ethernet hub, CNCOM 1X1, CPU board CNLAN 3 L21723B00 Ethernet hub CNCOM 2X2, IPM drive unit CNCOM Node 1, L22342D00. Cooperation circuit board CNSV1-1 sequence board CNSV additional switching, power supply, +/- output terminal, L22342E00 cooperation circuit. Board CNSV1-2 IPM drive unit CNSV. Note 1. This is the cable assembly of the robot controller. 2.4 cooperation kit connection and power on methods. 2 to 11. Fig. 2.4.2 shows a cable connection diagram for the cooperation kit. Info. For an overall connection diagram for the controller, refer to 2.8 electrical circuit diagram. L22342F00. L22351C00. L22385F00. L21723B00 CNLAN 3. L22342C00. L22342E00. L22342D00. L21723B00. L22342F00. L22351C00. CNSV3. CNSV4. L22351C00. CNSV3. CNSV4. L22377B00. L22377F00. CNSV3. CNSV4. CNSV2. CNSV1-2 CNSV1-1. CNSV. CNCOM. CN200P. CNCOM 2X2. CNCOM 3X35X5. CNCOM 1X1. L22352A00. L22342B00. /C24. IPM drive unit. 6. Cable assembly. 5. Cable assembly. 7. Cable assembly. Power electrics unit. 1-3. Cooperation kit. Ethernet hub. Power input terminal. Additional switching power supply. AC input terminal. +/- output terminal. Cooperation circuit board. 6. Cable assembly. Cable assembly. 7. Cable assembly. CPU board. Sequence board. For cooperation between 2 units. Short connector. For cooperation between 3 units. Cooperation circuit board. Cooperation circuit board. Refer to section 2.4.2 cable assembly. Fig. 2.4.2 cable connection diagram for cooperation kit. Note the numbers in parentheses indicate the step numbers in this section. 2.4 cooperation kit connection and power on methods. 2 to 12. Cooperation kit installation. Warning. Electric shock may cause serious injury or death. Wiring work should be done after turning off the primary power supply and the circuit breaker on the robot controller. 1. Turn off the breaker of the robot controller and the primary power supply. 2. Remove the DIN rail fixtures on both ends of the cooperation kit from the rail. 3. Fix the cooperation kit to the bottom surface of the master robot controller with TUM 4 multiplied by 8. After fixing the kit, install the DIN rail fixtures onto the rail. Front view inside. Cooperation kit. Fixing the cooperation kit 1. Fixing the cooperation kit 2. BB cross-section view bottom surface inner side. Fix with TUM 4 multiplied by 8. Install the DIN rail fixtures. Fig. 2.4.3 Fixing the cooperation kit. 4. Removing the unused cable. Remove the cable that connects the CNSV connector of the IPM drive unit and the CNSV connector of the sequence board. This cable will not be used, so store it in a safe place. CNSV, IPM drive unit, sequence board. Remove the cable and store. Front view inside. Fig. 2.4.4 Removing the unused cable. 2.4 Cooperation kit connection and power on methods. 2 to 13. 5. Connecting the CN200P connector. Connect the CN200P connector of the cable connected to the L terminal and N terminal of the additional switching power supply to the second connector from the bottom of the CN200P connector of the power unit. Front view inside. CN200P second from bottom. Power unit. Additional switching power supply L terminal, N terminal. Fig. 2.4.5 Connecting the CN200P connector. 6. Connecting the L21723B00 cable assemblies multiplied by 2. Follow steps of to connect the L21723B00 cable assemblies multiplied by 2. Remove the L21723B00 cable assembly from the CNLAN3 connector of the CPU board. Do not remove the CNCOM connector on the IPM drive unit side. Remove the spiral tube that protects the L21723B00 cable assembly as a unit from the wire saddle. C. Connect the connector removed from CNLAN 3 to the CNCOM 2x2 connector of the Ethernet hub. Connect the L21723B00 cable assembly included with the cooperation kit to the CNLAN 3 connector of the CPU board and the CNCOM 1x1 connector of the Ethernet hub. E. Remove the spiral tube. Bind together the two cable assemblies, and then wind up the spiral tube again. Pass the spiral tube and cable assemblies through the wire saddle as shown in Fig. 2.4.6. C. CNCOM 2x2, CNCOM 1x1, B, F, 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 B, B, A, B, F, A, CNCOM a D, CNLAN 3. Pass two cables through the wire saddle. Connect with CNCOM. Pass the cable through. Pass the spiral tube through the wire saddle. Spiral tube. Ethernet hub. BB cross-section view bottom surface inner side, front view inside, wire saddle, IPM drive unit CPU board, Fig. 2.4.6 Connecting the L21723B00 cable assemblies multiplied by 2. 2.4 Cooperation kit connection and power on methods, 2 to 14. 7. Connecting the L22342D00/L22342E00 cable assemblies. Connect the connectors described below. 1. CNSV1-1 connector of the cooperation circuit board to CNSV connector of the sequence board L22342D00 cable assembly. 2. CNSV1-2 connector of the cooperation circuit board to CNSV connector of the IPM drive unit L22342E00 cable assembly. Point of +/- crimp terminal of the L22342D00 cable assembly is set in advance in the terminal block of the additional switching power supply. CNSV1-2, CNSV1-1, CNSV, CNSV, IPM drive unit, sequence board, cooperation circuit board, front view inside, Fig. 2.4.7 Connecting the CNSV connector. This completes the installation work for the cooperation kit. 2.4.2 Cooperation cable connection. This section describes the cooperation cable connection method by dividing the procedure into connecting to the master robot controller and connecting to the slave robot controller. The cooperation cable length and grounding method differs between the master and slaves as shown in Fig. 2.4.8. Be careful because connection is not possible if a master and slave are switched with each other. Master-slave. Fig. 2.4.8 Cooperation cable, exterior view, ground terminal, shield grounding, approx. 400 mm, approx. 850 mm. Ground terminal. 2.4 Cooperation kit connection and power on methods, 2 to 15. Connecting to the master robot controller. 1. Remove the option panel. 2. Pull the cooperation cable through the cable outlet of the option panel. 3. Fix the ground terminal to the ground stud located on the left surface as viewed from the cable outlet. 4. Install the option panel. 5. Connect the CNCOM X35 and CNSV024 connectors and ground terminal of the cooperation cable. 6. If CNSV3 and 4 are not connected, the short connectors are connected. When connecting a second or third slave, remove the short connectors before connecting the cooperation cable. Store the leftover short connectors carefully to ensure they are not lost. CNSV4, CNSV3, CNSV2, CNCOM 5, CNCOM 4, CNCOM 3, 321, 234, A-A, 123, A, R, USC, USC, 45JB, IND, CONT, EQ, V, H, plus V, V, a DJ, DCON, ALM, NL, BARCODE, Fig. 2.4.9 Connecting to the master robot controller, info, Fig. 2.4.9 is a connection example. There is no special order for connecting the Ethernet hub CNCOM, cooperation circuit board CNSV and ground terminals. The system operates normally regardless of where each connector is inserted. Option panel. First slave, second slave, third slave. Ground stud. Rear view. Rear. A arrow view. Ethernet hub expanded view. Front. Ground terminals 2, 3, 4. First slave, second slave, third slave 2.4 cooperation kit connection and power on methods. 2 to 16. Connecting to the slave robot controller 1. Remove the maintenance cover. 2. Pull the cooperation cable through the cable outlet. 3. Fix the shield grounding to the shield clamp area located at the cable outlet. 4. Install the maintenance cover. 5. Lay out the cable while fixing the inside of the panel with wire saddles. 6. Connect the CNCOM and CNSV connectors of the cooperation cable to master. Fix with wire saddles 2 locations. Fix with wire saddles 3 locations. CNCOM, CNSV, shield fixture, shield grounding, rear view, right view, inside shield clamp area, a cross-section view, front view, front, rear, maintenance cover, Fig. 2.4.10 connecting to the slave robot controller. Maintenance cover fix with wire saddles 2 locations. To master, shield fixture, shield grounding, rear view, right view, inside shield clamp area, front view, a cross-section view, front. Fix with wire saddles 3 locations. 2.4 cooperation kit connection and power on methods. 2 to 17. 2.4.3 jumper settings. Amp number. External axes controller overrun settings. Amp number settings. In the cooperation kit, the amp number of each amp drive unit must be set in accordance with the controller connection order. The amp numbers are set with the rotary switch ROTS 1 of the amp drive unit shown in Fig. 2.4.11. Table 2.4.3 amp number settings. Fig. 2.4.11 amp number settings. Controller amp number. First master 0, second 1, street slave 1, third 2, ND, slave 2, fourth 3, RD slave 3, ROTS 1 expanded view. 2.4 cooperation kit connection and power on methods. 2 to 18. Setting the jumper pin for the L22385F00 sequence board of the master robot controller. Important. To install the cooperation kit, the L22385F00 sequence board is required on the master robot controller. If the L22385F00 sequence board is not installed on the master robot controller, replace the sequence board. For details on identifying the board, refer to Fig. 2.4.12. Set the jumper pin for the L22385F00 sequence board of the master robot controller as shown in Table 2.4.4. Table 2.4.4 Setting the jumper pin for the L22385F00 sequence board of the master robot controller. Setting location. Setting remarks. J11 to 2 short. Internal/external power supply setting for DC 24 volts V power in the emergency stop circuit 1 to 2, internal 2 to 3, external. J2 open one side, P1X1 connection setting Ms coil drive power, short, internal open, external. J3 open one side, M1X1 connection setting Ms coil drive power, short, internal open, external. There are 2 jumpers, J2 and J3, part no. L22385F00 is displayed, Fig. 2.4.12 Identifying the L22385F00 sequence board of the master robot controller. 2.4 cooperation kit connection and power on methods. 2 to 19. External axes controller overrun settings. In external axes controller, peripheral jig can be used for up to 6 axes. The overrun must be set according to the used axes. In CNOVD 1, 2 and 3 shown in Fig. 2.4.11. Only the unused connectors are shorted with connectors as shown in Table 2.4.5. The short connectors are included with external axes controllers. Table 2.4.5 Overrun settings. CNOVD expanded view. Fig. 2.4.13 Overrun setting location for external axes controller. Connector corresponding. Axes setting method. CNOVD 1 axes no. 1 and 2. Short only when both the corresponding axes are unused. CNOVD 2 axes no. 3 and 4 CNOVD 3 axes no. 5 and 6 2.4 cooperation kit connection and power on methods. 2 to 20. 2.4.4 Manipulator and peripheral jig connection example. This section describes a connection example for a manipulator and peripheral jig used in a cooperation system. Fig. 2.4.14 shows an example of using NV6, 2 1-axis sliders and 1 2-axis positioners. Info. In the example in Fig. 2.4.14, because 3 sets of external axes cables are connected, CNOVD. Overrun settings are all open. 2.4.3 Jumper settings. Amp number. External axes controller overrun settings. Fig. 2.4.14 Manipulator and peripheral jig connection example. Robot controller. External axes controller. No. 5 axis. No. 6 axis. SceneRex 3. SceneRex 3. External axes cables 1. 2 no. 3 axis. No. 4-axis scene Rex 2. Scene Rex 2. External axes cables 1. 2 no. 1 axis. No. 2-axis scene Rex 1. Scene Rex 1. External axes cables 1. 2. No. 1 axis. No. 2-axis minus 2-axis positioner. No. 3-axis minus 1-axis slider. No. 5-axis minus 1-axis slider. NV6 Manipulator 2.4 Cooperation Kit Connection and Power on Methods. 2 to 21. 2.4.5 Primary Power Connection for AC 200 220ths V. Warning. Electric shock may cause serious injury or death. Wiring work should be done after the primary power supply and the circuit breaker on the robot controller are turned off. This section describes the connection method for the primary power when double stacking with AC 200 volts / 220 V is used. The connection to the electric leakage circuit breaker and connection when using separate installation is the same as for a single mechanism controller. For details, refer to the setup manual. 1. Turn off the source of the primary power supply. 2. Pull through the L22390A00 power cable from the position on the lower level controller, shown in Fig. 2.4.15. 3. Connect the power wire of the L22390A00 power cable that you pulled through into the primary side of the circuit breaker, and connect the ground wire to the ground terminal P. 4. Pull through the opposite side of the power cable from the position on the upper level controller shown in Fig. 2.4.15. 5. Connect the power wire of the power cable that you pulled through in 4 to the secondary side of the circuit breaker, and connect the ground wire to the ground terminal P. 2. L22390A00. Fig. 2.4.15 Primary power connection for AC 200 volts / 220 V. Master. To the electric leakage circuit breaker, obtained by the customer. Power cable for double stacking, L22390A00. Slave 2.4 Cooperation Kit Connection and Power on Methods. 2 to 22. Caution. The primary power can be connected with connection wiring for up to 2 controllers, excluding large capacity controllers. If connection wiring is performed for 3 or more controllers or when using a large capacity controller, there is a risk that the controller circuit breaker may trip. Important. Large capacity controllers. When a large capacity controller is included in the cooperation system, connect the primary power of the large capacity controller independently as shown in Fig. 2.4.16. Fig. 2.4.16 Primary power connection. When a large capacity controller is included, connect the primary power independently. Cooperation kit. Cooperation cable 4 meters M. Cooperation cable 0.7 meters M. Large capacity controller C. Power cable for double stacking 2.4 Cooperation kit connection and power on methods. 2 to 23. 2.4.6 Primary power connection when using the L22221A or L22222 a step-down transformer. Warning. Electric shock may cause serious injury or death. Wiring work should be done after the primary power supply and the circuit breaker on the robot controller are turned off. This section describes the method for connecting the primary power from the L22221A or L22222 a step-down transformer to the second controller. Connecting to the electric leakage circuit breaker is the same as for a single mechanism controller. For details, refer to the setup manual. For details on the L22221A and L22222 a step-down transformers, refer to the controller maintenance manual. 1. Turn off the source of the primary power supply. 2. Pull through the L22228A00 power cable to the upper level controller. 3. Connect the power wire of the power cable that you pulled through into to the primary side of the circuit breaker, and connect the ground wire to the ground terminal P. 4. Pull through the opposite side of the power cable to the L22221A or L22222A step-down transformer. 5. Connect the power wire of the power cable that you pulled through in 4 to the 200 volts V terminals on the transformer secondary side, and connect the ground wire to the ground terminal P of the case. 4 meters L22228A00. RR1 R2 SS1 S2 TT1 T2E. UU1 U2 U3 U4 U5 U6 U7 VV1 V2 V3 V4 V5 V6 V7 WW1 W2 W3 W4 W5 W6 W7 U8 U9 U10 U11 U12 U13 U14 U15 V8 V9 V10 V11 V12 V13 V14 V15 W8 W9 W10 W11 W12 W13 W14 W15 L22221A/L22222A. Fig. 2.4.17 Primary power connection when using the L22221A or L22222 a step-down transformer, master, to the electric leakage circuit breaker obtained by the customer. Power cable 4 meters M, slave, to the upper level transformer. Left view L22221/L22222 a 2.4 cooperation kit connection and power on methods 2 to 24. Caution. When the L22221A or L22222 a step-down transformer is used, the lower level of the stack is the master robot controller and the upper level is the slave robot controller. Important. The maximum power capacity for external axis controller is 10 kV. Obtain a step-down transformer of 10 kV or higher. Important. Precautions for connecting step-down transformers when a large capacity controller is included in a cooperation system that uses the L22221A or L22222 a step-down transformer. Connect the primary power of the large capacity controller and the L22222 a step-down transformer independently as shown in Fig. 2.4.18. Power cable 4 meters M. Large capacity controller. Connect the primary power and the L22222 a step-down transformer independently. L22222A. Step-down transformer. Cooperation kit. Cooperation cable 4 meters M. Fig. 2.4.18 L22221/L22222 a step-down transformer connection. When a large capacity controller is included. For the step-down transformer, calculate the power capacity of the entire system and obtain a transformer of this capacity or higher. The power capacity of the entire system is the sum of the power capacity of each controller. For the power capacity of the controllers, refer to Table 2.1.3. When combining with the L22221A or L22222 a step-down transformer, select from Table 2.4.6. Table 2.4.6 Configuration examples when combining with L22221/L22222 a step-down transformers. Type capacity. Applicable system configuration examples, manipulators and external axes combined with controllers. Power capacity. L22221 a 3 kV, NB4/NV6 single mechanism, 1.5 kV NB4L/NV6L/NB15/NV20 single mechanism, 2.4 kV NB4/NV6 plus NB4/NV6 3 kV NB4/NV6 plus external 1 axis 2.7 kV, L22222 a 6.4 kV, NB4/NV6 plus external 2 axis 3.9 kV NB4/NV6 plus large capacity external 1 axis 6 kV NB4L/NV6L/NB15/NV20 plus NB4L/NV6L/NB15/NV20 4.8 kV NB4L/NV6L/NB15/NV20 plus external 2 axis 4.8 kV NV55.5 kV NV166/NV210 single mechanism Note 17 kV. Note 1 for the power capacity of NV166/NV210. Devices with a capacity of 6.4 kV or higher are available, and these can be used in combination. 2.4 Cooperation kit connection and power on methods 2 to 25. 2.4.7 Sign usage examples reference. Signs are included with the L22351A00 Cooperation kit for identifying the connection destination of the cooperation system devices. Sign usage examples are shown in Fig. 2.4.20 and Fig. 2.4.21. Although not shown in this manual, large signs can also be affixed to manipulators as necessary. It is recommended that the signs be affixed after installation in highly visible locations. Table 2.4.7 List of signs included with the L22351A00 Cooperation Kit. 60, 40, 15, 12 R1 R2 R3 R4, R1 R2 R3 R4 Fig. 2.4.19 Exterior drawing of signs. CNSV1-2, SceneCom2, RC1, CNSV, SceneCom, CNSV2, SceneCom3, CNR1, CNR2, CNR3, 2 NV50, NV166, NV210, 1, 3. RC1 RC2 3 4, R1, 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 R2 R2, R1, 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 RC2 3 4, RC1 2 3 4, Fig. 2.4.20 Sign usage example cables. Name quantity. Small signs R1 to R4 inches are 1 inch multiplied by 10. are 2 inches to are 4 inches, multiplied by 8. Large signs are 1 to are 4 inches multiplied by 2 marking ties multiplied by 34. Small, large. Affix a small sign to the marking tie. RC1 controller internal cable. Affix a small sign to the marking tie. Affix a small sign to the marking tie. RC2 3, 4 cooperation cable. RC1 2, 3, 4 control cable. Control cable 1, cable flange. Control cable 2 NV50, NV166, NV210 only. Control cable 3, robot controller side, robot controller side, robot controller side, manipulator side, manipulator side, RC2 3, 4 side, manipulator side, RC1 side 2.4 cooperation kit connection and power on methods, 2 to 26. Few more dust will cause failures and malfunctions of the controller. Close the door of the controller and lock the 2 door keys certainly. Attach covers to the unused cable ports on the controller. 2. 1. On. 2. 3. 4. 1. Keep out of robot area when main power is on. 2. Do not locate this device in robot work area. 3. Read instruction manual. 4. Lock out and tag out equipment before servicing. 1. 2. 3. 3. 1. Do not touch live electrical parts. 2. Disconnect all power before installing or servicing. 3. Multiple sources of voltage may exist inside this enclosure. Few more dust will cause failures and malfunctions of the controller. Close the door of the controller and lock the 2 door keys certainly. Attach covers to the unused cable ports on the controller. 2. 1. On. 2. 3. 4. 1. Keep out of robot area when main power is on. 2. Do not locate this device in robot work area. 3. Read instruction manual. 4. Lock out and tag out equipment before servicing. 1. 2. 3. 3. 1. Do not touch live electrical parts. 2. Disconnect all power before installing or servicing. 3. Multiple sources of voltage may exist inside this enclosure. Few more dust will cause failures and malfunctions of the controller. Close the door of the controller and lock the 2 door keys certainly. Attach covers to the unused cable ports on the controller. 2. 1. On. 2. 3. 4. 1. Keep out of robot area when main power is on. 2. Do not locate this device in robot work area. 3. Read instruction manual. 4. Lock out and tag out equipment before servicing. 1. 2. 3. 3. 1. Do not touch live electrical parts. 2. Disconnect all power before installing or servicing. 3. Multiple sources of voltage may exist inside this enclosure. Few more dust will cause failures and malfunctions of the controller. Close the door of the controller and lock the 2 door keys certainly. Attach covers to the unused cable ports on the controller. 2. 1. On. 2. 3. 4. 1. Keep out of robot area when main power is on. 2. Do not locate this device in robot work area. 3. Read instruction manual. 4. Lock out and tag out equipment before servicing. 1. 2. 3. 3. 1. Do not touch live electrical parts. 2. Disconnect all power before installing or servicing. 3. Multiple sources of voltage may exist inside this enclosure. R1, R2, R3, R4, Fig. 2.4.21 large sign usage example controllers. 2.4.8 power on/off methods. Turning the power on. First turn on all the circuit breakers of the slave robot controllers, and then turn on the circuit breaker of the master robot controller. Turning the power off. First turn off the circuit breaker of the master robot controller, and then turn off all the circuit breakers of the slave robot controllers. Caution: if a mistake is made in the power on/off order, E9208 servo communication start error may occur. If this happens, the error is recorded in the error history, but because this is a mistake in the power on/off order, there is no abnormality in the product. If this error occurs when the power is turned on, turn off the circuit breakers of all the controllers, and then turn on the circuit breakers in the correct order. Important: if turning on the power again, wait about 5 seconds after turning off the circuit breakers before turning on the power again. Large sign 2.5 parts replacement procedures. 2 to 27. 2.5 parts replacement procedures. Danger: do not alter or remodel our products. Injury or equipment damage may result from fire, failures or malfunctions caused by altering or remodeling the product. The warranty does not cover any altered or remodeled products. Warning: electric shock may cause serious injury or death. Wiring work should be done after the primary power supply and the circuit breaker on the robot controller are turned off. This section describes the procedures for replacing cooperation kit parts. The parts replacement procedures for external axes controllers are the same as for a single mechanism controller. For details, refer to the controller maintenance manual. 2.5 parts replacement procedures. 2 to 28. How to remove. 1. Turn off the source of the primary power supply. Additional switching. Power supply. 2. Remove all the wires from the terminal block. Press the projection on the front bottom, and remove while lifting up from the rear Fig. 2.5.1 Additional switching power supply. Ethernet hub 3 Remove all the connectors. Pull the projection on the rear bottom, and remove while lifting up from the rear Fig. 2.5.1 Ethernet hub. Cooperation circuit. Board. 4 Remove all the connectors. Pull the hollows in the fixture located on both the left and right sides of the board, and remove while lifting up Fig. 2.5.1 Cooperation circuit board. Important. For the cooperation circuit board, the DIN lever installation fixture of the removed board must be removed and reinstalled on the new board. A. DIN. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, Fig. 2.5.1 Cooperation kit parts, replacement procedure removal. Inside the master robot controller, rear front, projection, rear front, rail installation fixture, DIN rail installation fixture, additional switching power supply Ethernet hub cooperation circuit, board, rear front, top view, cooperation kit parts left surface, view a 2.5 parts replacement procedures, 2 to 29, how to install, additional switching, power supply, 1 Install the wires onto the terminal block as shown in Fig. 2.5.2, in the plus, minus and ground terminals, 2 wires are connected together Fig. 2.5.2, while pushing the rail installation area at the front against the DIN rail edge, push down the rear side Fig. 2.5.1 Additional switching power supply, GND, 24 volts V, 24 volts V, US GND, RC1, NL, CNSV1-1, CNSV, CN200, Fig. 2.5.2 Cooperation kit parts replacement procedure, installation of additional switching power supply, Ethernet hub 2 while pushing the rail installation area at the front against the DIN rail edge, push down the rear side. After installing, connect all the connectors Fig. 2.5.1 Ethernet hub, cooperation circuit, board, 3 while pushing the rail installation area at the front against the DIN rail edge, push down the rear side. After installing, connect all the connectors Fig. 2.5.1 Cooperation circuit board, info. There is no special order for connecting the Ethernet hub COM, cooperation circuit board, CNSV and ground terminals. The system operates normally regardless of where each connector is inserted. To power unit CN200P, to the Ethernet hub, to sequence board CNSV, to cooperation circuit board CNSV1-1, to RC1 ground terminal, black, green/yellow, blue, green/yellow, blue. Blue 2.6 Maintenance parts, 2 to 30, 2.6 Maintenance parts, 2.6.1 How to store parts. Because the PCB contains high precision parts, be sure to observe the following points for storage. Storage temperature, -10 to +50 C, to maintain the high precision during long storage periods. 25 C ±10 C is recommended. Also, avoid sudden temperatures changes 10 C/hour or faster. Storage humidity 20 to 85% to maintain high precision during long storage periods. 45 to 65% is recommended. Also, avoid storing in conditions prone to condensation or mold. Prevent static electricity. Storing in extremely dry conditions makes static electricity charging more likely, and the shock of this discharge may damage the semiconductors. Place in an anti-static bag before storing. Other environmental conditions. Store in an area free from toxic gas and with low amounts of foreign matter, such as dirt or dust. Also, avoid subjecting to a load during storage. 2.6 Maintenance parts, 2 to 31. 2.6.2 Cooperation kit. Table 2.6.1 Parts used in cooperation kit. No. Name drawing. Number/type part number recommended. Quantity. 1 Ethernet hub FL switch. SFNB5TX100-18061. 2 additional switching power supply DC 24 volts VDLP 120-124-1100-180713 PCB cooperation circuit board L22351C00 L22351C001 cooperation kit expanded view inside the master robot controller 213 Fig. 2.6.1 Parts used in cooperation kit 2.6 Maintenance parts 2 to 32 2.6.3 External axes controller. Table 2.6.2 List of parts used in external axes, controller and reference locations. No. Name drawing number/type part. Number. Recommended quantity remarks. 1 multi-power supply. Unit L21720A00 L21720A001. 1-to-1 fuse SG500 1306.3 or 100 16311 F21 1-to-2 fuse SG5 13002 or 100 16322 F1 F22 printed circuit board riser board L21700R00 L21700R001 3 cooling fan 11,938 megabytes, 2 NEA 0100 for rack unit FM3-14 key for C1083 100 080115 drive unit L21734A00 L21734A001 for external 6-axis equipment. 5-to-1 fuse GP 100 100 16271 F1 5-to-2 fuse HM32 100 16281 F36 large capacity power unit L21722A00 L21722A001 6-to-1 fuse 61 MS080H100 16372 F1 F2 6-to-2 electromagnetic contactor SCN2/GDC 24 volts V2A2B 4340 to 124 2. 7 cooling fan 11938 SB 2 and CA 0100 16383 for heatsink FM1-1 FM1-2 for regenerative resistance FM2 8 auto breaker NF63 CV underbar 3P40A100 174319 breaker handle F5 SV100 1744110 terminal cover TCS5 SV3 100 17451 for auto breaker 11 regenerative resistance L20000 408K00 L20000 408K001 for external 6-axis equipment 2.6 maintenance parts 2-33 left view front view inside 4 11 3 top view 2 1 rack unit expanded view 6 7 6-2 6-1 8 9 10 5 inside cover Fig 2.6.2 FD 110060 for external 6-axis equipment. The external axis controller used parts 2.7 troubleshooting 2-34 2.7 troubleshooting. Refer to this section if you cannot resolve the issue by following the troubleshooting of the single mechanism controller. Table 2.7.1 describes the errors that may occur due to defects in the cooperation kit. Table 2.7.1 error codes that may be caused by cooperation kit defects. Note 1. Components that may be defective. Components in the cooperation kit that may be defective. Error code no. Additional category symptom details switching power supply, Ethernet hub, cooperation circuit board, 62 control, failure. The emergency stop was input momentarily, or the magnet switch MSHP turned off. This error occurs if the emergency stop, mode selection signal teach/play, or any of the safety plug signals was in the off status momentarily. 903 amplifier, unit failure, servo communication stop. This error occurs if communication between the CPU board and servo board stops. 975 control, failure. The magnet switch MSHP does not turn on. This is detected when motor on is on and then the confirm motor's on signal is not returned within a certain time period. 976 control, failure. The magnet on confirmation fixed input in 28 turned off. This error occurs while the motor power is on if the magnet on fixed input in 28 turns off unexpectedly. 1046 control, failure. An inconsistency was detected in the operation preparation circuit. This error occurs while the motor on is on and when the time set in constant setting minus input and output signals minus condition setting minus MSIN/off confirmation time elapses after the motor on condition is established, and the magnet on fixed input in 28 does not turn on. 1048 control, failure. Welding was detected in the magnet switch. This error occurs when operation preparation is entered if welding fixed input in 30 welding detection is off of the relay contacts in the sequence board is detected. The error detection location is the sequence board. 1064 control, failure. An inconsistency was detected in the sequence circuit, cron. This error occurs if there is an inconsistency or abnormality in the dual circuit of the cron signal. 9208 CPU board, failure. Servo communication start error. This error occurs if communication between the CPU board and IPM drive unit servo board could not start. 9220 servo, failure. Servo error inconsistency detection. This error occurs if a software and hardware inconsistency is detected in the servo error signal. Note 1. A broken wire or contact defect in a cable connected to a component is also possible. 2.8 electrical circuit diagram. 2-35. 2.8 electrical circuit diagram. Fig. 2.8.1 General Electrical Circuit Diagram. Master Robot Controller for NV4/NV6/NV4L/NV6L/NV15/NV20. Note 1. Note 2. Note 1. Only the L22352A00 Cooperation Unit and the L22385F00 Sequence Board are different from the single mechanism controller. Note 2. For NH5/NS3/NV50/NV166/NV210 as well. The parts different from a single mechanism controller are the same. 2.8 Electrical Circuit Diagram. 2 to 36. Fig. 2.8.2 General Electrical Circuit Diagram. External axes controller for external 6-axis equipment. Note, this is one example of combining external axes. 2.8 Electrical Circuit Diagram. 2 to 37. CNP2A, CNP2B, CNP3A, CNP3B, CNBK1. Diagram of connection insertion position. Scene Rex 1 1, 2, 3. Servo board. To chassis grounding of robot controller. Scene Rex 1 1, Scene Rex 1 2, Scene Rex 1 3, CN1 1, CN1 2, CN1 3. Gate drive board. CNP4A, CNP4B, CNP5A, CNP5B, CNP6A, CNP6B, CNBK2. Gate drive board. CNP1A. IPM drive unit robot controller. CNP1B. Fig. 2.8.3 Electrical Circuit Diagram. External 6-axis equipment. Motor wires. 2.8 Electrical Circuit Diagram. 2 to 38. Fig. 2.8.4 Electrical Circuit Diagram. External 6-axis equipment encoder wires. 2.8 Electrical Circuit Diagram. 2 to 39. Robot controller. Scene Rex 1. External axis interconnection box. Robot controller. External axis interconnection box. Scene Rex 1 P1. Scene Rex 1 P2. Scene Rex 2. Scene Rex 2 P1. Scene Rex 2 P2. Diagram of connection insertion position. Scene Rex 1. Scene Rex 1 P1. P2. Diagram of connection insertion position. Scene Rex 2. Scene Rex 2 P1. P2. Fig. 2.8.5 Electrical Circuit Diagram. External axis interconnection box. 2.8 Electrical Circuit Diagram. 2 to 40. Note.